Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of P.A.R. Real Talk. My name is Pali. I'll be the host of the show. Welcome to Power Ace Radio. And as usual, I have an incredible guest on the show. So if I could please get you to introduce yourself, tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us what you do, please.
I'd be glad to. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Michael Persico. I'm a jazz trombonist and singer, and I live here on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And my project, my this part of my career, I'm a retired music teacher for high school, but in 2020 I started a company called Classic Jazz Visions, and that all stems from my work with the great jazz photographer Jack Bradley, who was Louis Armstrong's dear friend and photographer for the last 10 years of his life. So I started working for Jack back in 2013, helping him organize his massive collection. He held the largest collection of Louis Armstrong memorabilia in the world. It's now stored at the Armstrong House Museum in Queens, New York. And I started helping him, and that's how I decided to put together this show, Classic Jazz Visions. I've combined his pictures of Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, and many, many others with music, live music from my band, the Classic Jazz and Swing Orchestra.
Wow, this is amazing. So you wear a lot of hats, really. And no, let's start with the kind of I wanted to talk about the book, really. So you wrote a book,
Oh,
right?
yes, I have the book right here.
Right. Yes, that's
Have
the
you,
one.
yeah.
Classic Jazz Vision.
Well,
Um, yes,
Jack,
go on.
he passed away a few years ago, but when he was still around, he and I decided to, along with his friend Brian Smith, decided to put some of his pictures that had never been published before in a coffee table book, just one copy for him. But it turned out to be such a wonderful book. I decided to publish it myself back in 2023. And we sold out of our first edition. So we're actually going for a second printing at the first of the year. It's got, about 100 different photographs of everyone from Louis Armstrong to, here's pictures of Louis, of course, that Jack took. These
Okay.
are all courtesy of the Louis Armstrong House Museum, and I'm kind of their unofficial ambassador. I bring Jack's friendship with Louis on stage. And the best way I found to do to present his pictures would be with live music with a band that Jack loved and in proper context for the pictures that were taken back in the late 50s and 60s.
Mhm. Wow, it's like really dated. This is a real part of history, music history, and the legacies that have been laid just there. I'm glad you're bringing this back to life. And for somebody that is just joining, how would you describe the book itself? So it's called Classic Jazz Vision, the photography of Jack Bradley. So how
I
would
would
you
just
describe it to somebody who's not ever heard of it before?
Well, if they've heard of Louis Armstrong, then it's easy. After that, it's very easy. But Jack not only specialized in photographing Louis, Pops introduced him to Duke Ellington, to Ella Fitzgerald, a lot Eddie Condon, a lot of the um, New York and Newport Jazz Festival musicians, most of them who were towards the end of their careers. They had enjoyed a lot of success in the 30s and 40s, but by the 50s and 60s, there was a new music on the horizon with the Beatles, so that kind of changed the whole music scene. So Jack was there to chronicle the end of an era, and Jack was such a friendly person that everybody that invited him to like he was at every Duke Ellington recording session in New York City throughout the 1960s. He paid proper respect to these people who had given their entire life to pursuing their art. So, as much as Jack loved Louis Armstrong, that's how much I love Jack.
Mm, like that, like that. Thank you. So we're really getting in the authenticity of it all. And I've read that a lot of these photos, they've never been seen before.
Yes.
So how do you decide? Did you decide which ones to include in the book?
Well, that's where our friend Brian Smith came in. He's a professional photographer up in the Boston area, and is a dear friend of mine and Jack's. He had the photographer's eye to pick out the pictures and which ones to focus in on and enlarge. He was the perfect choice to do this, and I had cataloged and archived nearly 30,000 of Jack's negatives. It took me about 4 years to do. And so Brian Smith and Jack and I went through as many as we could. And Brian was able to um, digitally scan about 1,500 of the 30,000 photos that we have. Plus, I received an additional 1,000 photographs, images from the Louis Armstrong House Museum that Jack had taken with their permission to use his images of Louis. As long as it promotes Louis Armstrong and Jack Bradley, they've been very generous with their praise.
Mm, mm, Wow, that's really, really cool. And let's kind of go a bit more into it. Like, you've gone through that many photos. Was there a particular photo that really stood out for you that stopped you in your track? Like, wow, this is something else.
I'd have to say, well, I happen to have it here, but and I'll show it to you. It's a picture that Jack took of Louis Armstrong in a hotel with a mirror, and you could see Jack in the reflection of the mirror.
Mm,
And that's why I decided to have that one first in our book. And
wow,
this was
yeah.
taken up in Framingham, Massachusetts. Um, yeah, that was about probably 1965 or 66, something like that. But I felt the best way to present Jack's pictures to an audience who had never seen these things would be to combine them with live jazz. And I set up my band exactly like the Louis Armstrong band of the 40s, 50s, and 60s, like a traditional jazz band setup. And I hired all the best musicians that I could find here in New England. And we've traveled a bit. I'm hoping to take another tour of New York. We were at the Louis Armstrong House Museum back in September of 2023 and did a performance there for a lot of our New York friends. And I'm hoping to do that again next year with the help of my lovely agent, Patricia Brower.
Really cool. Well, we're looking forward to that. Just never know. Maybe you might see us there. Like, one day.
Fingers crossed. Well, the last time I was in England, I was in London, was 24 years ago. I brought my son Sean for a graduation present. He'd always wanted to go to London, so we spent a week there back in actually 2001. That's what it was, 2001.
Wow. It's a while back. It's a while back.
Yes, yes,
Come
it
and
was.
you should come and refresh your memory.
Well, I know that was in the middle of the mad cow disease thing, so I was looking forward to some English roast beef and had to settle for fish and chips,
Oh,
which were
well,
which were good.
I don't think you can get away from the fish and chips anytime you come
Well, no,
anyway.
that's true, but we had no choice.
And I just want to say beyond the photos themselves, what stories or emotions do you hope readers will take away with them?
Well, that's a great question. Jack was a chronicler of a lost time, a time that we will never have again. And I think it's important for people all over the world, but especially here in the United States, where jazz got its start. These pictures bring us back to a simpler time. And Jack had a great eye, and he was able to capture many, not only famous musicians, but musicians who had not achieved that kind of fame. A majority of them were African American artists who had just almost made it, but not quite, but were still working very, very hard and had a lot to contribute to jazz. And Jack was always sensitive to that. So he'd make himself known to anybody that was involved in the kind of jazz that he loved. He was great friends with Dizzy Gillespie. Dizzy came to visit him on Cape Cod several times, and Jack Bradley was one of a kind, let's put it that way. And his pictures show a very innocent outlook. And I think we all need that now.
It's really, really, really great. I like that. And
Oh, good.
do you see the book as more of a celebration or a preservation project, or actually both?
A little bit of both. The mission statement for my company, Classic Jazz Visions Incorporated, we have a very simple mission statement, and it's that we are here to preserve and promote the artistic legacy of Jack Bradley. And I try to keep it simple. Where I've even helped produce a traveling photo exhibit that will debut at the end of this month here on Cape Cod, and we hope to bring it around the state and hopefully around the country. Again, all these pictures have never been published before, so I think it's quite a refreshing. What's old is new. I guess that's what I have to say. And there's a lot of black and white photos, but we also have some wonderful color photos that Jack took. They weren't his favorite. He liked black and white photos. He thought it captured the essence of what he was trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Well, we love them all. So we'll be there
Yeah,
to
fingers crossed.
can't wait to see more of those amazing photos. And you probably alluded so to this already, going through how many thousand photos. But what's the biggest challenge you had in putting the book together?
Um, the biggest challenge was limiting it to just 100 pages of photos. We could have gone on like the Encyclopedia Britannica and just had volume after volume after volume. But I thought that these would be a great introduction to Jack's work. And if my projects gain some steam, then maybe a second book will be in the works. Right now, I'm just working on the second printing of the first book. We were able to get more artists identified with thanks to the help of Jack's dear friend, the late Dan Morgenstern, jazz author and professor at Rutgers University. Jack introduced Dan to Louis Armstrong back in the early 60s. And right before he passed away, he identified dozens more artists for me. So I'm going to include those in the second printing.
That's the second printing. That's because the first one sold out. So as soon as the second printing comes,
Yeah, the first, but again, to be fair, it was a small test sampling of only 250 books. Mostly went to friends and fans here in Massachusetts and New England and a few bookstores around the country. But this next thing, I'm again planning a tour and hoping to be able to sell not only the coffee table book, but we also sell prints. Matted prints of Louis Armstrong and others that will be on our website soon.
super, super, super. Like the sound of that. And kind of, maybe not, maybe going in as a reporter here a little bit. But were there any surprises that came out, while working with Bradley's archive? Maybe moments that you didn't expect to discover.
Oh, and working for Jack Bradley and going through his archives was like discovering Aladdin's cavern. I mean, there were treasures everywhere. I found so many pictures that had been lost of Louis Armstrong, I collected them all and drove them right to New York to the museum so that they would have them. Again, it was just such a surprise. All these artists who I had known since I was a kid, and some I had never heard of before, but they were all treated the same way with Jack's camera lens. So I figured the best way I could do to honor Jack would be to combine his pictures with not only in book form, but with music videos that we've put out. I think Patricia had sent you a couple of them from our show, Classic Jazz Visions. So all in all, it's been quite an adventure. I'm looking forward to the next step.
Nice, nice, nice. I can't wait to see it. And I just want to go not off tangent, but go into your music side a little bit. So how
Mhm.
long have you been doing jazz for? Have you been
Oh my gosh. Probably since my mother bought me my trombone back in 1972. I was 15 years old. Back in New York, I played with a lot of local big bands and things like, and just fell in love with jazz. But it wasn't really until I went to the Berklee College of Music, where I graduated in 1980, that I really discovered jazz. I mean, I was studying with the best professors and teachers. My roommate and some of my musical colleagues at the time uh, were just incredible sources of information and inspiration. So that's when I started it, and when I in 1980 I started teaching junior high school, and the next year I joined a musical review, part comedy, part music, and did that for all through the 1980s and have kept busy ever since. I started working with Jack Bradley in 2013. So I've been working nonstop pretty much since I was 15.
wow, 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 wow. That's incredible. You're part of the legacy of this jazz thing because you know
Well, I'm doing what I can. I'm
that's
doing what I
a
can.
long time, and you're still there preserving that knowledge, and I feel with nowadays where there's so many different type of music, we're losing those real, like the jazz. That's a lot of music has stemmed from it, but we're losing that authentic side of it.
Yes.
Um, and how do you feel we can, know you're doing your bit, but how do you feel the younger generation can really get involved and, help preserve this beautiful, beautiful music?
Well, I know that Wynton Marsalis is doing a tremendous amount of work with young people in Lincoln Center. He's been doing that for a number of years, and he's just wonderful. He's probably the best qualified to introduce the next generations to jazz. What I do is I'm pretty much a voice from the past, letting people know and reminding them that this is all our shared common heritage. Jazz belongs to everyone. It's unique to everyone, and I'm pretty much a proponent of the early days of jazz and its waning in our culture in the 1950s and 60s. So I guess I'm more of a historian than anything else.
Great. So thank you so much for that. And let's kind of go back into the book.
Sure.
That in many ways, this book is a collection of photos. Well, it's kind of more than just a collection of photos. It's a big piece of like living history.
Yes.
How do you see it contributing to preserving this jazz culture that we're talking about?
Well, Jack's photos come again, as I said before, come from a lost time, but it's important for us to remember. The things that have gone by and the things that preceded us. I spent a lot of time in the past because that's really where we get our identity from. The future is yet to be, the present, but the past is where we get the sense of ourselves. And by showing these pictures, by combining them with music, it opens up a completely different world for the listener and the viewer. And that's one of the reasons I didn't use original music for this. I decided to use newly recorded music and live music with my band because it's such an experience. The connection that the musician gets with the audience and back and forth. And a lot of that is missing today in music, for no other reason than we've just evolved into a more showy, glamorous type of presentation, columns of fire and a lot of dancing, which is wonderful. If you're making music, I'm your fan. That's great. But my outlook is trying to hold people's hands and bring them through the ages. And the music that we play, even the blues, it's something to celebrate, and you wind up feeling happy and good after the song is over, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good thing. And I'm just like this. It seems like such a minimal bits of this huge archive that you've given us so far. Um, do you see it turning into maybe a series, a multimedia project, maybe an exhibition, or even maybe a documentary with all those images? Where do you see yourself going with it?
Absolutely. Oh, you hit the nail on the head. I've been working on a documentary for a number of years. I've had tremendous support for this entire project from all of our dear friends, especially Catherine Russell. I'm sure you're familiar with her as a jazz singer. I believe she's going to be touring China anytime now, but she's a Bradley family friend for years and years, and she's been a big supporter of our project. So again, I just like to, what can I say? I love what I do, and I can't wait to continue the series. Like I said, it's a Classic Jazz Visions concert series. So we have part one, which we'll be performing again this New Year's Eve, which is an introduction, and currently have part two and part three, which is basically just pictures, all identified that we perform in front of, and there'll be a revolving series as it goes. As long as I'm successful with the first one, we'll keep on going as long as people are interested.
Super, super, super. Well, I'm sure we're definitely interested. So the listeners will be too. And I just want to find out how you balance being a musician, a band leader, you're an author, you're doing all these wonderful things. How do you fit it all into one day? Or maybe you have more than 24 hours?
Wow. Well, like I said, I'm retired. When I'm not working there, I'm caregiver to my wife, and Nancy Bradley, Jack's widow. I take care of her as well. But that gives me a lot of free time as well to indulge in my passion. I also hire the best people I could possibly find for the job, whether it's a graphic designer for my ads and posters and things, my agent, Patricia Brower, and other people. And as soon as I find the best people, I leave them alone and let them do what they do best. And that's worked great for me. If I stay out of everybody else's way and just concentrate on my vision and let people do what they do best, that seems to be working for me.
I like that. I like that a lot. Just delegate bits and trust
Oh
them
yeah.
to bring back their what they say they would do. No, that's really great. I like that. Thank you. The downboard.
Yeah.
And now talking about taking things on board, if a young musician or photographer picked up your book, what's one thing that you want them to take away from
Everything in the book, along with everything in our project, belongs to everyone.
it?
It's in the past, and yes, even though it did take place in America, New York City, the Newport Jazz Festival, it belongs to all of us because the music and the pictures will touch everyone's heart. It's just the way it is. I found that to be true. The response we get from the audience when we do live performances, the feedback I've gotten from the books and the videos, everybody just said they can't really put their finger on it, but they don't know what it is, but they know what they like and they enjoy it immensely. So as long as people are interested and take away something good from this, I'm a happy man.
Mm, 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 mm. Great, great, great. Well, you heard it. But that's our book.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And
Well, I can get your address from my agent, and then after the second printing, I will send you one.
oh, it'll be pleasure. Be a real, real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh,
So
great.
let's go to this bit where I call my quick fire round. Time is
Sure.
running, but we've got time for this.
Mhm.
So just a series of questions. First one being Louis Armstrong or Duke Ellington.
Wow. Well, I'm a huge fan of Duke Ellington and always have been, but Lewis is my first love. When I discovered that Jack Bradley was actually Louis Armstrong's photographer back in the day, I was very giddy. I was like a kid. I just, oh my gosh, I get to shake hands with the man who shook hands with Louis Armstrong. So yeah, it was fanboy time for me. That's for sure. But when Jack and I used to listen to Louis all the time, and even over the years, the same song that he would play, like Indiana or something, a lot of people would say his solos were the same year after year, but Jack taught me that they weren't. There were nuances and changes in each and every one of the solos that he recorded. May not be audible to the regular listener, but for someone so invested in music, in Louis Armstrong's music like Jack was, he was very helpful to me to point that out. So
Mm,
I owe Jack a tremendous debt.
nice, 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 nice. Thank you. Then, what's the first jazz record you ever owned?
The first jazz record I ever owned was probably Louis Armstrong's Hot Seven from like 1926, 1927. Before that, I was listening to Glenn Miller and Benny Goodman, big band. Was swing, really wasn't jazz. But when I first heard Louis Armstrong from the 20s, it was like, whoa, this is different. So,
Awesome, awesome. And are you a late night writer or are you an early morning?
it seems I'm up all the time.
Okay.
I, getting older and stuff, my sleep habits change, but I get up at the crack of dawn and start my day with what I need to do. And yeah, usually about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. That's the new midnight for us in our 60s.
Okay.
Someday you'll
Um,
find out.
something to look forward to, eh? And so this week, what's the favorite jazz club that you've ever visited?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The favorite jazz club that you've ever visited?
Um, I would have to say, well, haven't visited any in New York City yet, but the 1369 Jazz Club in Boston when I was going to Berkeley back in the 70s, that was the place to hear everybody. And that was right on Boylston Street. Contemporary jazz, few traditional people, but for, college students, that was the place to go to be heard and to hear other people.
That's nice.
Well,
And
I'm
oh,
looking forward to going to New York City next summer. We've been invited to a nightclub club in Manhattan called the Cutting Room. So I'm trying to work out the logistics of that for next summer.
mm, on the horizon. Nice.
Well, we have the show comes with not only a slideshow but a short throw projector, a video screen, and 9 musicians. So it's a rather large complement.
That's really, really cool. And vinyl, CD, or streaming?
I will be going back to the studio late in November. We've already recorded 6 selections, which were sent to you. We're going to record another 6 to put on a CD for music and a DVD for music videos, and that we hope to help spread the gospel of Jack and Louis Armstrong through not only CDs but DVDs as well.
Nice. So physical, like not
Yes.
just
Oh, absolutely.
perfect, perfect. And are you a coffee or a tea drinker?
Oh, coffee, the,
Coffee.
the
Okay.
staff of life.
And so what's another favorite instrument other than the trombone?
Uh, well, of course, the trumpet, the voice, my singing. I'm a crooner, which is different from a singer. A crooner, you can make more mistakes.
Well, okay. That's new to me. Thank you. And New York or New Orleans?
Well, coming from New York and now I live in on Cape Cod, I can't wait to go back and visit New York this time with a band. I'm hoping to do a lot of traveling next year. I would like to get back to London, that's for sure. There's a woman that performs there all the time. Elise Roth. I'm a huge fan, and she does this whole jazz thing that's really quite cool.
Oh, Alice Rock. That sound familiar that I might have seen like in Prague recently.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't.
she's
Well,
quite a singer. Yeah, she's a lot of
yeah,
fun too.
it might be the same person. It's literally it's probably about two months ago or so.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, well, and what's one word to describe Jack's photography? Jack Bradley's photography.
Same word I'd use to describe Louis Armstrong. Love.
Mm, mm, mm. Great, great, great.
You look at his pictures and you say the people's names out loud for the first time in many decades. You recognize people that just missed stardom by that much. People who may not have made the mainstream, but nevertheless devoted their lives to jazz. Yeah, love, I guess, covers it.
Thank you. And so where can people go and find this book and find out more about yourself? People are screaming like, "Come on, we want to know."
Oh, okay. We of course you go through my agent Patricia Brower, but we have my original website is classicjazzvisions.org. You can go on there. Like I said, our book won't be ready until the first of the year, but there's you can order that, and we'll be. My web designer just moved to Tokyo, so we're trying to touch base and get a new redesign. So we'll be working on that. We'll have everything fresh and new by the first of the year.
Great, that's great. It's to look forward to. Fresh 2026 it is. And any closing remarks from you to the viewers?
Well, I hope you like what I do. It's coming from a place of love. I think it's important to remember our history, but it's also important to have a good time and listen to great jazz. So just give me a call and I'll get to London in no time at all.
That's super. Great to have you in the UK. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been mind blowing,
Oh,
mentioning all
thank
these
you.
names, and for bringing back that piece of history, music history. No, thank you so much for that.
Thank you as well. This has been a most enjoyable afternoon. I wish you well, and as soon as my second printing is published, I will send you a copy.
That would be great. That would be great.
All right.
But yeah, until
Thank
we
you.
meet again, take
Till we
care.
meet again. Goodbye.
On Power Ace Radio.